I don't believe in luck. I don't believe in bad luck. I think there's always a reason for everything. Do you think that your mind can create symptoms in your body? Yes. Do you think that your mind can create inflammation in your body? Yes. Do you think that your mind can prevent you to reach your goal and be successful? Or can you use 5 or 10% of your mind and crack the code of 90% of your mind power? That's not going to happen. We have been programmed that the happiness is in the outside and the happiness is within. See, that's a big problem right there. We look for things outside to please ourselves. Our beliefs are everything, they dictate our life.
Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning into the Vibrant Soul Society, The Conversations. I'm your host, Baba Sam, and they call me the Miracle Man. Our mission for the show is to help you discover that you are greater than your thoughts. And the opposite side of our thoughts is our vibrant soul. So I'm very honored to have a very special guest with us today. Dr. Allen, welcome to the Conversations.
Like we say in French, bonjour, how are you doing, sir? I'm
I'm do-
very happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm really curious. So, how would you describe yourself, Dr. Allen, for people that are unfamiliar with you?
I will describe myself as somebody who's a seeker and a freedom seeker, a truth seeker, a knowledge seeker. And of course, I'm a chiropractic physician, but also a mind expert. And I'm very curious. I think the most wonderful question is, it's called why, why? And so I try to answer with that question that pop up in my head as much as I can, using my intuition, using my insight, and using my life experiences that lead me to explore the mind.
Yeah, so it's really being a place of curiosity to dive deeper. But sometimes I find the why question can leave us into a little bit of victimhood if you're talking about why did this happen to me? Why did I get this disease? And as opposed to stepping into power.
That will be more the why me. That's the why me. And but the why is just, I truly believe believe at the law what we call cause and effect. So for every cause there's an effect. For every effect there's a cause. And that's where I'm coming from. I understand where you're coming from, which is the victim mode, which is you don't want. But basically this is not the why me, this is why. And because I don't believe in luck, I don't believe in bad luck. I think there's always a reason for everything. I believe one thing that is very important to me, when you've got a problem in life, and that problem can be a health problem, can be a relationship problem, can be a prosperity problem, you need to know two things, Baba, in order to resolve your problem permanently. Meaning, you don't even think about the problem, you are moving on. What you need to know, you need to know what's causing your problem, number one, right? Because if you don't know what's causing your problem, how can you fix it? And number two, you need to know how to fix it. So if you know what's causing your problem, you need to know how to fix it.
Yeah, so that's really good that the cause and effect, and I love that fact that I don't believe in luck because it is cause and effect that there's a root cause for creating the situation, the issue.
Yes.
May not be apparent. And then do we really need to know how to fix it? Because I'm just thinking of my own life, my own situation where I was sick, disabled for 38 years. My mind had no clues like, how do I fix this? What is the root cause? I wasn't even aware that I was the cause of this. I wasn't aware that
That's correct.
my mind was like, I was waking up every day, what's going to go wrong today? And I was completely identified with my diagnosis. So then how do we move beyond that? Because to my mind, it was impossible to fix.
Yeah, because we have to understand when we're talking about mind, we have to understand what the mind is to start with, right? What we have been told, we have been told that our mind, our self identity. And I'm just going to demonstrate today that it's not. So, the way I want to introduce that, it's like in a way we are living in two separate worlds in the same time. So, what do Baba? What I mean is like this. We've got what we call the outer world, right? The outer world, which is what we call our conscious mind. It's your self identity, who you think you are. It's what you're aware of, how you perceive your reality around you, right? It's so you're aware of your thought, your emotion, your behavior, and your action. It's what you think you can do, what you think you cannot do, right? And so after we've got another mind, a mysterious, secretive, hidden mind. And I call that the subconscious mind, right? And this subconscious mind record everything you have been doing in your life, Baba, from age 0 to now. Also, all your skills as a podcaster, as whatever you do that requires skill and that you do, are stored in your subconscious mind. All the automatic process in your body, in your physiology, like you don't have to think about it, that happen automatically, like your breathing, your heartbeat, your digestion, all that is stored in your subconscious mind. And so I started to be very intrigued about that subconscious mind, that mystery, what this is about. And so I started to dig. And what I'm going to tell you, Baba, you can Google it. The information is available, very easy to Google it. So the first thing that I found out was like our conscious mind processes data at 11 bits per second. Our subconscious mind, Baba, processes data at 11 million bits per second. So it's 1 million bits per second. So I say, okay, hold on, that stuff is very powerful, right? And so what I'm going to tell you now to you, but also to your audience, guys, if you are standing up, please sit down. If you are sit down and you can buckle up, because what I'm going to tell you is going to make you redefine the idea of who you are and how you can help yourself, therefore. So here it is, Baba. Our conscious mind, which is our self-identity, right, which is who we think we are, it's only 5 or 10% of our mind. Meaning that the subconscious mind is 90 to 95% of our mind. And yet, in order to heal, transform ourselves and grow, what we use only 5 or 10% of our mind, our subconscious mind, our self-identity. So, of course, I thought, don't we bring the subconscious mind to the party? That would be pretty cool, right? What do you think?
Yeah, so that's really it. I like how you describe it as two separate worlds. We have our inner world, we have the subconscious inner world. So I wasn't even aware that there was two worlds. And even when I was suicidal in my 20s, my psychiatrist never even said to me, "Why are you taking your thoughts as truth?" Well, he too wasn't really aware of this inner and outer world. He was completely identified with his conscious mind and his thoughts as well. So he couldn't point me back to saying, to ask me, like, why are these thoughts of not good enough true? So, how do you help people to see that there is the outer world and the inner world? Like, how do you get them to see that there's more to what they can perceive?
What our decision, where our decision, and where our thoughts are coming from. So what you have to understand is our subconscious mind can be programmed. We have been programmed, and more importantly, from age 0 to 7 years old, because we're like a sponges, right? What we see in the outer world, we assume it's good for us, right? And so when you assume something long enough, it becomes a program. So we've got two kind of program that run permanently in our subconscious mind. So we've got the programs that are good for us, right? That are serving us. And we call that empowering belief. When your mind is working for you and not against you, right? And after we've got another kind of program that are not serving us any longer. And we call that limiting belief. And this is when your mind is working against you instead of working for you. It's controlling you in a way. So the way it works, those programs are coming from the past, remember, from age 0 to 7 mainly, but can come also in case of PTSD for a big trauma, unprocessed emotion or challenges that be stored there as a program, right, and run as a loop. I call that the subconscious stress loop, right? So maybe it will be good to give an example an example of a program how can impact our life. What do you think?
Yeah, because I really like that because big
Yeah.
trauma and early childhood because I was hit by a van at age 6.
So it's not, this program even doesn't happen by chance. There's a reason, right? So let's identify one program. Let's pretend there's a little girl that see her dad, a drunk, he's an alcoholic, coming back every night and beat up his woman, right? His wife. So what do you think that little girl, when she grows up and she can be in a mature relationship, what kind of mind do you think she's going to attract?
That's going to beat her up.
Okay. 80% of the people will agree with that, but now let's explore that a little bit deeper, if you don't mind. So the first things that I want to point on, if I ask that woman now, right, I say, hey, do you enjoy to get beat up like your mom? She's going to say, heck no. So meaning the conscious mind is going to say no, but the subconscious mind has been programmed as men are predators and women. So who's in control? So you think with your conscious mind, you control the thoughts that are coming from your self-identity now. they are coming from your subconscious mind and those programs that can be limiting, or for the good one, that can be empowering to you. So there's three different case scenarios that can happen to that woman. Case scenario number one, Baba. She's going to marry the guy and can get stuck in that relationship for the rest of her life. We all know people like that, or we have heard of such relationship. Why she's not living? Because of those programs. Okay. Case scenario number two, she may get involved with a guy and get tired to get beat up. Excuse my French, but tired to get beat up. And she may have another relationship. Maybe she has a kids along the way. But look at all the suffering. And there's two things that those women telling me. The number one thing they say, hey, Dr. Salas, don't talk to me about men. Men are not good for me. I'm done with men. Like, it's kind of, there's a fire, you put your finger, you get burned once, you get burned twice, you say, hold on, I'm not going to put my finger in the fire again. So what happened when they truly heal, it means that what's going to happen, they're going to attract somebody totally the opposite. Somebody that is kind, that is respectful to her, that see her as an equal. That's how you know you heal and that program is gone. And case scenario number three, she can come to somebody like me that can go there and delete the program, download a new one that is empowering, right? And make sure that she's going to create the kind of relationship that she wants in life. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that's really it, that we can stay stuck in that situation, or we get the same relationship but different person. So we keep in that loop that we're replacing a relationship, but we're staying with the same kind of personality that is not supportive. Or we can just do the third option of just rewiring the brain.
Exactly. And I'm glad you're talking about the rewiring the brain, but it starts in the mind. That's why people get confused, right? So let's visualize a triangle here, right? So inside the triangle, what you're going to have, you're going to have limiting belief. On top, because you've got limiting belief, that's going to generate negative thought. That's where your negative thought is coming from. That programming, that limiting belief, right? So on the top, you're going to have negative thought, which gonna, on the right side base of the triangle, what you're gonna have? You're gonna have overwhelming emotion, right? Because it's negative thought. And if you've got overwhelming emotion, what you're gonna have? You're gonna have non-desirable behavior and unproductive action. So for example, if my dad told me when I was a kid, he said, you're a loser. So inside the triangle, that's my programming, right? My limiting belief. I'm a loser, so I'm going to think I'm a loser. I'm going to feel like a loser. I'm going to behave like a loser. So I'm going to have a loser outcome. If I've got a loser outcome, I'm going to feel even more like a loser. I'm going to think, man, I knew I was a loser, but such a loser, it's crazy. And that's the subconscious stress loop. And all those subconscious stress loops are running permanently behind the scene in our powerful subconscious mind.
Yeah, that's really it that you were talking about before, that this limiting belief, the negative thoughts are working against us because the conscious mind wants to go one direction and the subconscious saying, nope, we're staying here.
Who's controlling who? Our limiting beliefs that are coming from the past, right? That's our past experiences that we have a problem to deal with. So it's basically, in a nutshell, is this. Our past is dictating our present and molding our future.
Yeah, I see that often where the past is being pulled into the present moment. And when we don't want the past to come in, we want to live this new way forward. So, what is this best way that we can create a new way forward? Is there an ideal way to create a new path?
Yes, sir. So the thing is, I used to travel a lot, right? I used to live on my sailing boat in south of France and rent boat. And so I had 3 or 4 months. I will go to the South Hemisphere and travel. And the most frustration that I had traveling, it's like when I meet a cool guy and I could not communicate with him because I was not speaking the same language. And that's a problem in my field, Baba. We don't speak the same language. We don't speak the subconscious mind language. So what is the question common? What is the subconscious mind language? The subconscious mind communicates with us. And one way they communicate is what we call dreaming. So when you remember a dream, what do you remember from a dream? there's always a picture or a series of pictures associated with that. I never had anybody telling me, hey, Dr. Salas, I remember only the smell of my dream. It's just not possible because that's how the subconscious mind processes information. That's why it's 1 million times more powerful, because you can put so many symbolism, so much information in a picture than describing by words. So, for example, okay, let's pretend, because when you Google limiting belief, what you're going to see, oh, limiting belief, I'm not good enough, and which is true. I'm too old to do this, and that can impact your goal and success. But what I'm talking about, it's much more than that. Meaning that, do you think that your mind can create pain?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Do you think that your mind can create symptoms in your body? Yes. Do you think that your mind can create inflammation in your body? Yes. Do you think that your mind can prevent you to reach your goal and be successful? Of course. And so your mind, it's where it starts. It's everywhere. The way we perceive our reality is going to be. You see what I mean? So let's pretend we're talking about programming. So let's take the analogy of a mind being like a computer. All right. So your hard drive is the brain. Your software is the subconscious mind. And the output of the software is your conscious mind. And your behavior is reflected on the screen of life. So if I've got a good quality program, Baba, like you ask me, hey, Dr. Salas, how are you doing? I've got lots of empowering belief in my software where I say, oh, life never better, right? It's look at this, look at the moon, the sun, everybody's nice. I love life. You never know what's going to happen. But if I'm loaded with limiting belief, you're going to ask me, hey, Dr. Salas, how is your life? I'm going to tell you, oh, it's a struggle. I feel lonely. Nobody loves me. And when I start something, I can never finish. There's always, why me, the victim mode, right? It's always happening to me and all that. And that's what, when you got a program with lots of limiting belief, right? And so, for example, when you've got a program in your computer that is not working for you, what do? You delete, that's the step number one, you delete that program and you replace it by another program that's going to work best for you, right? And remember what you're going to see on the screen of life, that's what you want, right? Now, finally, I've got the outcome that I want. So, for example, if you've got neck pain, Baba, and you have heard on me, you say, oh, okay, I'm going to try. I had that for 10 years, right? So I will ask you, I want you to visualize you having the worst neck pain. And so that's going to, so you see yourself in the picture, right? And so what we're going to do, I created a special program that you're going to use. We're going to customize it to you, and you're going to use to delete that limiting belief representation, which is that picture, right? And after, we don't need to know what is the limiting belief. We just delete what we don't want. And after, I'm going to ask you, Baba, I want you to visualize yourself with the opposite of that picture. And so maybe the picture would be some people doing yoga with no pain, some people being on the computer with no pain, or whatever it is. That's their own subconscious mind. So let's pretend, Baba, you've got neck pain, right? And we want to get rid of that, right? And so the first step, what you need to do, we need to talk the same language, the subconscious mind, right? So you're going to visualize a picture in which you see yourself having the worst neck pain ever, right? What we're going to do, there's a program that I'm going to give you to send. It's going to be customized to you. That's why I'm here to guide you only. You are going to be the one using your 90% of your mind power, your subconscious mind, to bring that to the party. So we're going to delete what you don't want, basically, which is the neck pain, right? So we're going to delete the limiting belief. And by the way, you don't need to identify what is the limiting belief, because how can you use 5 or 10% of your mind and crack the code of 90% of your mind power? That's not going to happen. So we don't identify the limiting belief. We just replace it, which is the step number 2. We download. I will ask you now, Baba, think about the opposite of that picture. And we're going to customize the download program, right, to you. And you're going to send it to that picture, right? And that's going to be the empowering belief that's going to replace in your subconscious mind that limiting belief that was creating your neck pain. And step number 3, there's another program that we want to make sure, Baba, that you remember the screen of life. We want to make sure that you're going to create that in your screen of life. And so when you do the 3 step, you delete, you download, and you create. The kind of result I have with pain, for example, 70 to 80% of the people within 2 visits. So it means that that's when I knew I was really under something. It's because You never heard anybody in my field that say, oh, we can get rid of pain like this using the reprogramming the mind. Never heard of that consistently. And so I use the pain a lot because that was instant feedback. And for 3 years, I did refine that technique. But it can work for anything, like a negative thought, like a negative emotion, whatever, or you feel stuck in your life, anything.
Yeah, I loved how you were just acting out when, the struggle, the low energy of things aren't working out for me, things are painful. We get to this really low struggle energy. And where does life go? It goes downhill, it keeps in that same wavelength of things going wrong and things not working out, because we do need to flip that switch to say, hey, this subconscious programming is not working for me. We need to do something with this. So, what you're talking about, is that your body clearing system that you were talking about, how you're
The body clearing
reprogramming that?
system, yeah, the basic is the mind clearing. So if you want to learn it from yourself, because you don't have to have a PhD on health and things like that. You just need to learn the way to do it on yourself, but also you can help your loved ones. It's very empowering. To me, it's like when you empower people to heal themselves or transform themselves, to me, it's the holy grail of healing, right? There's no better things than that, right? So that's really important for me. But also, if you are like a coach or a health professional that really want to go deeper and really want to help, your patient or your client to really get rid of a problem that they had, whatever it is, that's the technique that I will truly recommend. And I want to add one more thing. I think you're going to appreciate that. Let's for a minute zoom out, right? And so I want you guys to visualize the sun is God, is awareness, whatever your belief system is about, right? And after a spark of the sun, create your spirit, right? And this is all non-duality. It's like pure love. It's all there is and has ever been. And after you've got the sky, and after you've got you and me, that physical you and me, right? So some people, they've got so many limiting beliefs because the limiting beliefs are the clouds in the sky. So the sky is so cloudy, they say, there's no sun. The sun doesn't even exist. I never felt it. I never saw it, right? So when you start to get rid of limiting belief one after the other, now you start to get a glimpse at the sun. You start to feel some warmth from the sun, right? And you get rid more and more limiting belief, so you get more connected to your spirit. If you are more connected to the spirit, remember those triangles? You've got more empowering belief, obviously. So you've got more positive thought, you've got more supportive emotion, and you got more desirable behavior and productive action. So not only that, like you say, when your vibration is lower, when you get rid of a limiting belief, that's going to bump you up because you're more connected to the divine and the spirit. And that's why I think it's such a blessing that not only you can get what you want, but also you're going to raise your level of clarity, right? Mind clearing and focus and all that, right? That you can have even access to knowledge that you couldn't have access before. Because quite frankly, when I had the insight and did what I do, I said, I'm going to explain that to people. And I started to work on myself, clearing things. And after I had more clarity, focus, and I was attracting some knowledge, but I didn't have access to it. It's like an awakening in a way, when you realize that you are not only what you have been told. What we have been told, we are self-identity, period. We are 5 or 10% of your mind. But when you start to do that kind of work, you're more connected to your spirit, and you truly understand that you are a spirit living a physical experience. And that's really who you are at the essence.
I really can relate to that, because when you're in spirit, you're tapping into your full power. And when you're tapping into your full power, I think this is the home of miracles. Talk a little bit before
Exactly.
this, want to dive into this a little bit, exactly what is a miracle?
You describe it. You did it. You describe it to the T. It's when we are connected to our spirit because everything is possible. We're talking about being closer to the realm of everything that's possible. God, the divine, the awareness, whatever you want to call it, right? And so, of course, you can channel that, you can get into your life. But what I want to say, it's like a miracle is rare, right? By definition, miracle doesn't happen every day, right? But clearing will allow you to progressively be more connected to the spirit with all the miracles that come with it. All the things that you have no idea. We don't know how powerful we are because you experience it, right? You had that miracle healing, right? But most of the people, Baba, they don't know that. They never experience it. But with the mind clearing, what happened, you get more connected to your spirit. So we are limitless. That's what we need to understand. We are so much more than we are being told for different ways. I think it's control issue, right? They want to control us, but that's my personal thinking, right? Because they understand there's something that I want to say also. It's like science or research, they know that. They call that the placebo effect. So what is the placebo effect, Baba? Let's say I'm go to a research center and they say, okay, you got heartburn. Heartburn, I say yes. Okay, so they give me a pill and they say, if you take that pill, you will have no heartburn. So I take the pill and say, oh man, I have no heartburn, it works. They say, but after they told me, you know what, Dr. Salas, actually, we give you a sugar pill. So the belief, my belief that the pill will heal me did the job. And we brush it up like it's the placebo effect. No, that's how we heal. And now there's one more thing I want to talk because people don't know too much about that. It's called the nocebo effect. So what is it, the nocebo effect? Let's see, the same case scenario, but they told me you take that pill and maybe you're gonna have a headache. That's one of the side effects. So I take the pill, no more heartburn, but I'm like, man, I've got a headache. And they say, oh, by the way, Dr. Salas, you got the sugar pill. So I believe on the negative aspect, that will give me a headache. So when you hear about all the bad news, all the things around us, all the fear that are projected into that, do you think they can program our mind like this? Heck yes, of course. What is advertisement? That's putting program in your mind. And so we have been programmed that we need to consume to be happy. We have been programmed that the happiness is in the outside and the happiness is within. See, that's a big problem right there. We look for things outside to please ourselves, which is short lived, by the way, of course, it cannot last. But the deep, real happiness and healing and transformation and growth are from within and within our subconscious mind. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And when you were saying miracles are rare, I see that miracles are rare when you're in the program, you're in
Exactly.
spirit. Miracles become ordinary, just a daily part of life. There's a synchronicity that happens. See that as
Totally
well?
agree. Yes, totally agree. It's and we call that synchronicity. When you think about somebody, boom, he or she's gonna call or things like that. I work a lot with text with my patient and they say, oh, I was just about to text you. I'm not surprised. So you see more because we think like supernatural power. We always have them. It's on a subconscious mind. We always have them. It's just whose program, whose limiting belief prevent us to have access to them. But we are by definition supernatural being because we are spirit. Spirit is everything. We cannot even maybe comprehend what a true spirit is. But there's no judgment. There's no good and bad. There's all that there is simply. That's where the miracles are.
Yeah, for people that don't understand that we're spirit, that we're soul, that they don't quite comprehend this, what I like to do, my own practices, is look at old photographs of yourself from a toddler body to a young adult body to a teenager body and your adult body. You had all these bodies, but the one who sees through the eyes never changed. That's your spirit.
Exactly. And I will say the soul to me, my understanding, the soul is on duality, meaning there's good and bad, right? That's so if you look at the spirit, and after this is all pure love and things like that, and the soul after there's good and bad, right? That's the difference between to me anyway. My
Mhm.
understanding, the soul is more into so we want to connect to the spirit because that's where it's like all that amazing and divine space is and more connected to you are to the spirit, more you are at your center and more life can be like totally different. Because the way we can explain that to your audience also, it's this. Let's pretend that I'm swimming right in a beautiful island with corals and all that with a friend of mine. So we're both swimming, no problem. The water is crystal clear. We can see the bottom of it. After we start swimming, now I cannot see the bottom of it. And what I didn't know is my friend got panic attack of lots of fear when he or she cannot or he cannot see the bottom. So we are in the same environment doing the same thing. Do you think we're gonna have the same experience? Do you think that we're gonna experience reality differently? Heck yes. See, that's how and whose fear and whose panic attack they come from limiting belief stuck in your subconscious mind, that program that has been triggered. Oh my God, I cannot see the bottom of the ocean now. So I'm freaking out.
Yeah, that's also a good distinction that the spirit, the soul, I see this more having the human experience, but the
Correct.
spirit you can say is the source, the universe, God, whatever you wish to call it.
I agree.
Even before you said this word, I wrote it down. You're talking about the nocebo effect, and there's a lot of research on this nocebo effect as to start a new belief or taking this sugar pill or taking something you believe is going to change the situation and it will change something. It reminds me of the Bob Proctor story. Somebody was really concerned that they didn't have money for payroll. So Bob Proctor, he's, oh, let me write you a check to cover in case the money doesn't come in. The guy thought, this is great, thanks. So the money came in, he never used the check. Bob Proctor said, that's great, there's no money in that bank account. But it was his belief that he's being covered that provided the income.
Yeah, you have the green light from the universe that money will come. Our beliefs are everything. They dictate our life. They dictate our present and more our future. The good news, okay, kind of people will say, oh, the bad news, I've got limiting belief. I can be programmed. Well, yes, but it's not your fault. It happened mainly when you were a kid. And in case of PTSD, can happen when you've got a big trauma, of course. But it's not your fault. But what I will say, it's your responsibility that you know now that they are there to get rid of that because now there's no more excuse in a way. You know what's causing it, right? And the mind clearing, can you fix it? So you may say, oh, I'm not sure. Give it a try. I will give you 20% off if you come and mention your podcast because true knowledge is about experiencing things. Because we can frankly talk about that forever. But if you don't experience, how do you know it's going to work for you or not? And also, I want to tell people that there's hope. Even if you think you have been everywhere and try everything, right, with no success, there's hope for you. Because it seems to me it's like almost like common sense that the mind is so important, right? The mind dictates everything you do in your life, right? So if we can reprogram the mind, this is powerful. And I want to tell people also what you have been hearing today. If you want to do your limiting belief, they tell you need to journal, you're going to feel that, you're going to, it's a lot of repetition. Why? Because they don't speak the same language that the subconscious mind. It's the equivalent like we've got on a podcast and there's no more sound. So I'm going to have to explain with sign language to write down things to communicate, right? How far are we going to go, Baba?
You really brought up a really important point that we need to dive into. It's not your fault. Let go of the guilt, the shame that you didn't do anything because you are programmed and you're not aware of this. We can get into, oh, I did this. It's my fault. I should have done better. And we get into all this guilt and shame. So it's a really important point to say it's not your fault. But now that you're aware of it, you can change the situation.
Exactly. And that's so key because I was talking to a patient yesterday. She was a care provider, right? And it's lots of stress for them, right? And she told me that she always doubting that she did what her mom wanted. I said, sweetie, the main thing is your intention. What is it in your heart? If you got good intention, you just trying the best and forget the rest. And that's all we can do. Are we sure we're going to always do the right thing? Of course not. But what your intention, what your heart is telling you to do, right? If you follow that, you cannot go wrong. You just do with what you got right now and what you know right now.
Yeah, true knowledge is in the experience. Otherwise, mind is in guessing until you have a direct experience, then you know.
It's like I want to start a business and I'm going to say, okay, yeah, I want to start a business. So I'm going to be in my foot and all that. But if I don't take action, it's never going to happen. As a spirit living a physical experience, we need to experience that. It need to show up on the screen of life.
Yeah, that's a great way to explain it. I really encourage people to reach out to Dr. Salas if you need somebody to help you break through that programming. He has the energy to reset that he was talking about before to 70 to 80%. Is that what your success rate is of that
Yeah,
pain?
for pain. And I never heard anybody say, oh, yeah, I'm going to reprogram your limiting belief and your pain's going to go away. No. So it's become more a side effect of it, right? Here we targeting with a mind clearing, we can target what you don't want in life and replace it by what you want and make sure you create that into your life, right? And so you've got three things that are super important, right? I call that the open mind, open heart, and open will. The mind, when you've got, for example, Baba, when you've got, because we are stuck in our head, right? We are be taught to be problem solvers. First of all, a problem, is it a positive or negative thing? It's not a it's not a positive thing. A problem is a problem, right? So here's the way we are. All the energy is going to our head, and we say we resolve a problem, and after, guess what? There's another problem, and there's another problem. So we never have peace of mind, right? And so when we clear our limiting belief, now we've got more peace of mind, meaning that when you don't have peace of mind, you are more closed-minded, right? So what does it mean? It means you've got a problem, either you're not going to see any solution or you're going to see maybe one or two, right? You're more closed-minded. But when you get rid of limiting belief, now you're opening your mind. And for that problem, maybe you're going to have 10 or 20 solutions. Now the question, how are you going to make to choose that? When you've got more peace of mind, more energy can go to your heart. And if you had some trauma, we get rid of a trauma with a limiting belief. Now your heart open up like a flower, right? And so what we say, peace of mind, and after you're going to follow your heart, and after you're going to make it happen with your belly. The belly is where the creation is. Let me explain that. The mind is masculine, right? Peace of mind. You're a man, you understand we want peace, right? For sure. So peace of mind is masculine. Feelings are more feminine. So when you combine masculine and feminine in the gut, that's how you make babies. That's how you create things. The combination of the masculine and the feminine. Peace of mind, I follow my heart. So the heart's going to want, that's going to be the decision maker. And for the belly, we've got two things. Masculine, we say, oh, Baba, I had the gut to start a podcast. Masculine energy, right? Baba had a gut feeling that we will meet so many interesting people doing podcast, feminine energy. And that's how we create.
Mhm.
So open mind, open heart, and open will to take action to make sure we create that. That's how life works. That's the cycle of life.
Yeah, I really love that analogy because I can relate to that, the peace of mind, because when I began meditation, it was because I wanted inner peace. And when I discovered that I had thoughts, but I wasn't my thoughts, then I started to feel more and
Exactly.
more peace. I was coming into my heart, my soul, and from there, my instincts, my intuition, my gut reactions, I just followed them and they led me to health.
Yes, sir.
It's been a really beautiful conversation with Dr. Salas. So thank you for joining us here. But
Oh,
just
thank you,
before we go,
Baba.
had questions, how would they reach out to you?
Yeah, it's simple. They go to my website, it's called themindclearing.com. And we're going to, so first of all, there's a ton of information there because doctor means teacher. And so for me, it's important to educate people, right? Knowledge is important, right? Truth, remember, are important. You go to our website, you can look around. And if you want to contact me, you go into contact, you click on it, you will have a form that appears. And or you've got an email also, you can email me. And so what happened, for example, if you want to get a treatment, say, okay, I want to try this because I had this and that, blah, 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 whatever you want to get rid of. So we set up on online because I'm helping you to do the healing yourself. So we can be online, it doesn't matter, right? I'm just guiding you. And so it's usually a Zoom or whatever we want, a video, right? And you will get 20% off of the treatment. The treatment lasts an hour to do a reprogramming, right? And after, if you want to learn it for yourself and help your loved one, right? And also empowering yourself, right? To be closer to your spirit and get rid of whatever you don't want in life, right? What you can do, if you can learn the mind clearing, which is the basic, and after the body clearing, which is about to get rid of pain, symptom, and inflammation in your body, and also the goal and success clearing, which I will teach how to the quantum loop, right? How to make sure that you can reach your goal using your subconscious mind to do that, right? And so if you want to learn all of them, like the entire package, I will give you 50% off, 50% off. So again, if you got a good gut feeling about that, or if you're tired of being stuck with pain and symptom or even chronic disease or whatever has been bothering you, you can change it. Take action.
Yeah, that is great. And I'll have all this in the show notes so they can find that information. So I really enjoyed this. It was a powerhouse of
Thank you,
information
sir.
on how to reset our life. So thank you for joining us on the
Oh,
conversation.
thank you, Baba. You such a good heart. Thank you so much.